Okay, I'd like to call the April 7th Special Board of Education meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on the agenda is to approve the resignation of Tom Scarice effective July 1st, 2020. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
Katie, I'll go.
Okay, great.
Thanks. Very quickly, but first and foremost, thank you to Tom Scarice. I think just a personal comment. I've not been on the board as long as some others, but just two recollections. One is when I was starting in on the board, I was still working at the university level, and a couple of my colleagues who were also colleagues of Tom's at Fairfield University, particularly Bob Hannafin, the dean at the School of Graduate and Continuing Education. And when I told him I was going on to the Board of Ed at Madison, he said, "You've got a really special superintendent there." And he was correct on that score. And since then, having pivoted over to private high school education, I have somewhat of a similar role to Tom's, although on a much smaller scale, working in a private high school. But I will say that much of the things that I've gathered from our work here, and it's certainly had been challenges that occurs at every district. But for tonight, I just want to say that I certainly have learned as a president of a private high school. I've learned a great deal from Tom, and as a parent as well as a president, I appreciate the work that he's done, and he's a talented person. Westport is very lucky to get him, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Anybody else?
Yes, I'd like to make a statement.
Go ahead, Galen.
Well, I think I at least have come here to praise Tom, not to bury him, because the good work that he's done in our district has been to live on for a long time. And for that, I'm profoundly grateful. I think Tom is an educational leader in the true sense of the word. He's a thinker and a doer whose moral courage has always enabled him to exercise foresight and implement long-term plans for the benefit of the district. You could run down a long list of the great accomplishments that he's achieved with great teamwork with the admin team. Curriculum reform, student wellness, student safety, coordinated actions with the police, ESS. I could go on, but I don't want to be greedy and let other people say things. At the same time, Tom's always been able to turn on a dime and focus his energy and attention on critical day-to-day tasks. I think he's an adroit and superb crisis manager, and exudes leadership. So I think it's a cliche, but it's our loss and Westport's gain, and we should know nothing but the best.
Thank you, Galen.
Thank you, Galen. Is there anybody else?
I'd like to pop in if I can, Katie.
Of course.
So Tom, I am sad to see you go. I wish you and your family in Westport all the best. I've loved working with you these last couple of years and knowing of you those many years before that. I think one thing that I just want to highlight in addition, I think, to your excellent communication is that the kids know you. The children in the school buildings know you. And I don't know if that can be said for a lot of superintendents. Even before I was in the Board of Education, one day my kids came home and they're like, "Mr. Scarice was there getting us off the bus." And they know you. You have a presence. I've seen you with groups of kindergartners reading. And I think in addition to the work you do at the top with the administration and leading the district, the fact that the children feel your presence in the classrooms is a real testament to your leadership and your role as an educator. So I really appreciate that. And thank you.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that.
Is there anybody else who would like to say anything? So I'm gonna just say a few words. Shortly, we're gonna be voting, to accept Tom Scarice's resignation as superintendent of Madison Public Schools. Tom Scarice was appointed as superintendent in May of 2012. Since that time, Mr. Scarice has been demonstrably committed to the success of our district. I'm grateful for his many contributions. By defining our mission to prepare all learners to make a unique, positive contribution in a complex global society, he developed novel programs for students and aligned our systems and partnerships around our students' needs. By creating and focusing on strategic objectives and developing the balanced scorecard through all of these, and perhaps some that I've missed, Mr. Scarice has worked to create a 21st century plan for our students. There have been many highs over your tenure here, but there have been some major challenges as well. From the unspeakable tragedy at Sandy Hook, Superstorm Sandy, the blizzard of 2018, and now a global pandemic, COVID-19. Your compassionate leadership has set the tone of reassurance and strength that was invaluable for our community. We congratulate Tom on his new position. I'm grateful that you're going to remain in town, and I look forward to seeing you at board meetings in the future.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate that.
Is there anybody else who would like to say anything? So hearing none, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Well, just one thing, because I can't see all your faces, I do not know who seconded that motion. So
I did.
I don't know who you are, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Who are you?
Me. I did.
No, don't
Say
say
your
aye,
name.
say your name, please.
Oh, sorry, Diane.
Thank you, Diane. So just on the phone, if you're speaking, it'd be helpful if you say your name before you speak. That'd be helpful to me. Thank you. So the second and last item on our agenda is to approve the appointment of members of the Board of Education to the Superintendent Search Committee. Can I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that, it's Emily.
Thank you, Emily. Discussion? And my only discussion point is that it is not lost on the board what an important task this is. I want to reassure the community that we will be looking to you for guidance and input, as well as faculty and administration and staff at central office. So there will be much, much more to come as we lay out a path forward. So any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. I need a motion to adjourn.
Maybe I have one quick logistics question.
Sure.
How can Board of Ed members join a committee meeting if they're not a committee member? Just so that you can, I know you can't participate like a committee member, but just to view it and.
No, that's a great question. So the answer to that is it's going to run very similarly to how we ran the Tri-Board Committee, where we will invite people in to come and speak. But because this is a personnel matter, it is largely held in executive session so that we can have the confidentiality of the applicants. But we will really count on Zoe to help us with making sure the community is up to date on every step of our process.
We have a policy committee meeting tomorrow, I think. Is there a way to get in, the invitation for that, or?
Yeah, that's a public meeting, so that will go out. I believe it did with the agenda today. But if it hasn't, I'm sure Wendy will send an invite tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did everyone receive the policy, all board members receive the invite to the Zoom meeting or whatever it is? Or would they, because if they have to raise questions, is there a way to do that through the public, stream or whatever it is? I don't know.
So I'm working with Art right now. I actually have here some guidelines for public participation for remote meetings that Art is working on. So yes, that is coming, and again, we're going to be relying on the public and our community to have input in this process and all of our processes. And there are lots of different ways to do that. So Art is working on that. Okay, any other discussion? So again, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second that, Evelyn. Sorry, Tom.
we're adjourned. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.